The first time I did one of these with video, I just kind of shared my entire desktop screen. So it was like every time I would open something, you could see it cascade down through reality. You know, it was like being Doctor Strange for a brief moment. I really enjoyed it. But all right, we've got folks who are officially letting me know that we are on the internet and being received by human ears and eyes. So thank you guys, both contestants. I'm not going to call you guests anymore. Contestants on the show. Thank you for being here, but also thank you guys for listening. And welcome to the Stay Creative podcast, a show I started because I love music and I want to know the people who make it. After a few conversations, getting to know people who make it, I found they were sharing a lot more than just music with me. They were sharing lessons they had learned the hard way on their artistic journey, as well as the motivations and encouragements that kept them creating when giving up would honestly be a lot easier. Because it's funny, when I think about giving up making art, it does not seem easy. It seems like it would be the harder choice. But honestly, doing nothing, that's kind of as easy as it gets. Anyway, I'm grateful for the art that I'm going to be sharing today, everything you guys have made. But I'm also extremely proud and grateful to know you folks and have you here to share these experiences and stories and things with people listening, because that is going to change their relationship with the art that they encounter in the world, but also the art that they're creating, or maybe not yet creating. Today I'm talking with my good and talented friends River Rapkins and Raspy O of Doomsavers. Yeah, thanks for waving. The multi-talented and completely real M of Dilemma. Is your project called Dilemma?
Yeah, I guess the artist name is Dilemma.
Okay, yeah. Either way, M and or Dilemma, and the absolutely unstoppable Matt of the one-man band, the FUs, from the same area code as me. We could have done this part in person, Matt, you and I.
We should have.
Yeah, with masks on for like across the room or something.
Right. I'll come over real quick.
Yeah. Let's just put this on pause. Let's play Minecraft for a bit. But yeah, no, I'm excited to be talking with you guys today. Thanks again for coming. Again, I'm looking at you on the wrong screen. I want to give my full awareness and presence to you as my friends, contestants, and guests. But yeah, we're going to be talking about some music. We're going to actually start with a track that M is going to share with us. But before we do, let's take some time to introduce ourselves in our own words. So M, just tell us some about yourself and how long you've been making music, things like that.
So I'm M, but I guess my artist name is Dilemma, and I started actually making music like last year in May or late April when we went into lockdown. I was kind of like, I don't know, I guess overwhelmed with stuff in general. And then my sister and I were joking about how I should like turn it into songs. And then I was like, okay, this might be like a good outlet. And so I just started doing that and like posting them on Indie Music Feedback Reddit, and things kind of just turned into a really cool, like, I don't know, I just met so many cool people through it. So carried on and put stuff out there.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you for sharing that. It's always super impressive to me when I meet somebody who's only been making music like as long as our current world, our post-COVID world, you know, because it did seem like you easily could have used all that time to eat potato chips or crisps, right? I know about England.
Did that too.
Do you have any music experience at all before?
No, I actually like started on my sister. Like my sister had a guitar, and so I just borrowed that because it was in London, and then I got my own like this time last year, and yeah, it's just I really enjoyed making it, I guess, and then learned so much from other people. Being like everyone's so helpful online on that Reddit, and yeah, I've just absorbed everyone else's information.
Yeah. Man, I love that.
It's really impressive.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I always feel like I know like nothing at all. So that was really lovely of you
You
to
don't
say.
sound like you know nothing.
Yeah. I mean, if what you're currently doing is just like a natural ability to like make songs or make tunes, and a natural ability to listen to what people are offering to make it better, then like you've got everything you need to keep growing for sure, I'd say.
Yeah, it's amazing. That's just the beginning for you, and you're ready.
Yeah, killing it, I think is the word.
Oh, you guys are lovely.
I agree. They are. I'm going to say we are lovely. Thank you. That's very kind. Let's next talk to my dear friend River. River, tell me some about yourself, and maybe some about Doomsavers. Sorry, but
Yeah.
saving some for Raspy, I suppose, on that too.
Yeah, since I've already been on the show before and talked about my solo project, I'll kind of focus on that a little more. But just some quick background. I mean, I've been doing music all my life. I think I decided around like age 12 that it was the thing that I really, really wanted to do above all else, is like have a collection of music that I can be proud of. And everything I've done ever since is kind of aimed towards that goal.
Yeah, I'm not laughing
And
at you. I'm sorry.
it's okay. It's funny for a 12-year-old to
No,
be
no.
thinking in those terms.
Are
I'm weird.
Doomsavers like lifesavers? We've got our first hard hitting question. I need you to address that.
Okay, so wait, I'll get there. I'll get
Okay,
to
okay. Sorry.
So then I joined a band when I moved into this area, and we were doing like this symphonic progressive rock opera about Gilgamesh, which was neither of our idea, but we were just in the band, and we kind of realized that once that was over, we were really connecting as far as like songwriting and as people. So
Yeah.
once that blew up, we got together and decided that it would be great to have a name to make music under. And Doomsavers was our very first name idea, like the first one that came to mind. I think maybe we said Doomsayer, and then that was taken, so we thought maybe Doomsaver instead. And it's just a really cool name. I think it's got that ambiguity. So you're asking what it means, and I think that's kind of the point, more than me giving you an answer, is like, are we saving people from the doom? Are we saving the doom itself? You know, like, are we
Yeah.
are we nihilists, like destroying the world, or are we saviors? Are we both?
Yeah.
Are we whatever the world needs most at the time?
Yeah.
I think in our official description, it depends on the day.
Yeah,
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. Like a Hindu god. Like they are both their positive and negative aspects at the same time. Like the Doomsaver, you know.
Yeah.
But
But
the
like
being.
musically, Doomsavers, I mean, I think we both want it to be like the mutual blend of our influences and interests, and just like the way that our voices blend together. You know, like I feel like with my solo music, I'm doing something very different, obviously, but with Doomsavers, it really is like a half and a half. We're trying to find the best midpoint where our voices sound good together and the music is something that we both love. And fortunately, we have a lot of intersections, so I think it's been really easy so far for us to write music together.
Yeah, for sure. So I appreciate you saying all that, and we're going to go straight to Raspy for any corrections or alterations to what River just said about Doomsavers.
No, I think he's right on with all of that. Very good description of our band.
Nice.
Yeah, no, I have nothing to correct, just to emphasize, yes, absolutely.
Awesome. Well, tell me some more about yourself. Maybe some of your own solo stuff. Like River said, we've talked to him about kind of his origin story, but we don't know a ton about you except you are in Doomsavers at this point. So tell
We
me some
can
more about
cover
yourself.
every quadrant between the two of us.
That's true. Well, I guess I've always been a musician since I could talk. I sang all the time. When I was very young, we had to implement a no singing at the dinner table rule. My older sister, 6 years older than me, understandably got annoyed when I would sing all day long.
Yeah.
So that was a rule in our house.
I imagine like food spewing out of your mouth.
Yeah.
You're at
You
the
know,
dinner table.
I was more interested in singing than, talking, I'm sure. So
I just imagine a 10-year-old having like a minor breakdown at the dinner table. Like, I need at least my meals. At least my meals in peace, please,
yeah. Oh yeah. It was fun. So that's kind of my origin story, is that I just sang all the time. I've had a lot of stops and starts with actually creating music. I've been a songwriter since I was like 6 and in piano lessons. on and off, trying a lot of different things throughout my life, a lot of starts and stops. So
Well, awesome. I'm glad you're in a. It's funny. I imagine the stopping part gets more difficult when you're in a project with someone who's been a musician and will never stop since they were 12.
Yeah.
That's
No,
awesome.
it's okay. I mean, that's part of the reason why I have my own solo
Yeah.
bucket. So, I mean, I never ask anyone to keep up with my pace when they want to go live their life. So,
It's an intimidating pace for sure.
Awesome. Well,
not compared to some of the people on IMF, though, I would say.
Fair.
Yeah.
Not one of those track a day people. You guys are crazy, but
dude,
you're awesome.
Avdrive, he'll go to Songwriting Blitz with like 3 songs. And it's like, dude, you've had 24 hours to make a single song based on this theme, and you made 3? What's wrong with you? That's craziness, But he's a talented guy.
That's a whole Beatles album.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Well, without further delay, I don't speak whatever language ado is from. Without further delay, Matt, tell me some more about the FUs. You've of course been on an episode once before as well. People can check that out. But tell me some about what's going on with you right now.
Yeah, so honestly, it's kind of been a blur. I've been in music as long as I could remember. Some people think that the FUs is just like super new because the first thing I released, what it looks like, was in August of last year. But the FUs has been a thing and named since middle school for me. I'm 23. I just graduated college last year. But with the album I put out last year, I finally had like found my sound. So I wiped everything. I kind of wanted to start with a new foot forward, I guess. And it has been a very wild ride with this whole subreddit being such an amazing community, and some of the posts that have gone pretty big. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of tiring sometimes doing everything. I do it out of this house. Don't go to the studio because you gotta pay for it, and I don't want to do that. So yeah, there's not really, I don't really know. There's not much to really say besides I'm here and I'm ready to rock, baby.
I'm working on not cutting off other people when they are trying to talk. So I was going to let you guys say something to Matt, but then I realized maybe I'm sitting here so long he thinks the phone call dropped.
No, I'm not really good at like talking about myself.
It's about balance. That's what I'm trying to say, and I'm learning it. But I was gonna say, 23 years old again. Like that is crazy. Like I remember when I was definitely making music when I was 23, but it wasn't of the like the quality and I guess the attention to detail. You know what I mean? Like I could write songs, I could play multiple instruments like you can, but your stuff is so wonderfully produced. It's like rock and roll music that would appeal to people who don't think they like rock music because it's clean, it's well made, but it's still gritty enough and alive enough that rock fans like it too. I don't know, man. I love it.
Thank you. Yeah, I have had some fun hearing people be like, "Oh, you're obviously influenced by this band," and I'm like, "No, I'm influenced by like obviously the Foo Fighters, but like also like John Moreland and like Ingrid Michaelson, just like total out of rock. I mean, I love rap, I love folk, I love hip, like all the things that aren't like rock and roll, I love, and it's fun to see that kind of like shine through like subconsciously on the music and like the rhythms I come up with and stuff like that. So
yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much for sharing. I want to move into the first song we're going to be listening to. Em, do you want to tell us some more about After the Pain?
Can you guys hear me? I'm just like triple checking.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, the mute thing is just being weird. So yeah, I wrote this last December because I was going through some old clothes and I realized I'd kept a t-shirt that was an X's t-shirt and I was just like, oh, It's been so long since I've even like thought about that. And then I kind of, yeah, I just wrote this song. It's just about that kind of
Yeah.
period after a breakup when you're like, I almost like miss the breakup part because I'm so detached from that now.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I was talking to a friend of mine on Instagram. Some of you might know him, Flynn's Ego, Flynn.
Big fan of Flynn. Yeah.
Yeah. And we were talking about a painting he'd done. He's like super talented, and I meant he used the phrase "after the paint dried" because he was like, "Oh, I couldn't go back after the paint dried," and I thought that fits his song, so I stole the title off him.
Yeah.
And then yeah, I just put it out in January, and yeah, so far people have been like super lovely about it. And
Awesome. Yeah.
then my sister and I like made a video for it, which I think that's what we're showing. So.
Awesome. Yeah. We're gonna watch the video. Everyone, you're not ready for this video. If you have not already watched it, I cannot do anything to prepare you for what's about to happen to you, and I'm sorry. But I'm glad you've already kind of talked about one thing I wanted to know, and that was like how autobiographical is it, versus how much is it a story that you wanted to tell. So that's cool. We'll talk more. Let's listen to it, and then we'll talk more about that specific thing.
This shirt doesn't smell like you anymore, and it does little to keep me warm. I haven't worn it in a while. It's really not my style. Memories getting hazy, don't matter now. Time to put these weary feet back on the ground. I always knew we were too good to last, but it went so fast. Now these strangers walk me home, and most times I leave them at the door. When I invite them in and give them more, it never feels like it did before. And I've stopped replaying moments in my head. It's like watching a fire through a TV set. A sad little reminder of a flame that's dead. And I'm getting nothing out from tuning in. Now I'm last thing weighing on my mind. But I must be all broken up inside, 'cause I just miss the pain. Now I'm fine. I really miss the pain. Now I'm fine.
Mercy. Sorry, I had such a technical issue there at the end and the beginning. That song, I'm actually kind of glad I had a technical issue that distracted me from the song so that I could continue having this interview today, because it's such like a like the sound and the visuals like work together so perfectly that the entire time I continue having realizations. Oh wait, these are teddy bears. It's okay. It's okay because they're teddy bears. And then like I forget they're teddy bears again. It's excellent work. I really love that song and that video.
Thank you.
I would argue it's less okay because they're teddy bears.
Yeah.
That's true.
Because
that's
like
true.
it's the same thing. Like I feel like, and I had like already steeled myself for it this time, so I could keep it together in public because
Yeah.
I've seen it before. But like the same thing where like I feel like I'm more likely to cry for like a children's cartoon, you know, than like a grown-up adult movie.
Yeah.
Because like when you see like iconography from your childhood, you kind of get disarmed a little bit, you know. You're like, okay, this is safe, this is comforting.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're in a more vulnerable spot when they stick the knife in. So
Yeah. That's true. Yeah. That's.
I don't know if that was intended, but it's very effective.
I mean, it wasn't intended that way, but like it's because
You didn't intend for it to feel like being stabbed with a knife.
No. But I've had a lot of comments of people saying like they want the teddy bears to get back together and stuff, and I'm like, maybe one day.
Yeah. You owe the fans.
But
Also, I do really appreciate how the guitar hand movements make sense for guitar playing. There are some even in like Pixar movies, I'll see like there's guitar playing in the audio and then they're just going like this, and it annoys me so much.
yeah, that's
I
credit to my
appreciate
sister.
that
Like,
detail.
my sister did the bulk of this one,
Uh-huh.
and I was like shocked that she'd paid that. I modeled like I made the guitar, and then she'd animated the bear and everything, and she did such an amazing job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate how many hours she must have spent on that detail.
Yeah.
How long did the
Only I
video
might
take?
notice.
I can't really remember now. She did most of this one because we've done 3 so far. And the last one that was like we measured the hours and it was I'm gonna get this wrong. I have a YouTube video about it, but it was a lot.
Yeah.
It was a lot of hours. But I think it equated to I don't want to risk getting this wrong, but it was in the double digits definitely, but like massively at least.
Yeah. It's worth
It was fun to make though. We're both 3D artists. I feel like some people maybe don't know that. So it's not like it's not just like we're super talented. This is like our job. So
Yeah. So that's interesting. Do you whenever you write a good song, because you're a 3D artist, like before your time making music, do you start to think in the idea of like storytelling 3D art stuff, or is that still kind of new as well?
yeah, I think I definitely think what it could like fit like visually when it comes to songwriting and stuff. But yeah, it's usually like we're working on another one at the moment, and they're just it's like a little mini movie. I don't know, they're really fun to make. So
Yeah. That's awesome.
Do you like write the whole song out and then make a video that makes sense with it, or do you kind of like progressively put the pieces together for both and let them feed off of each other?
Usually I've written the song and then we come up with a music video after that would fit. We stay away from like people again because actually, because people are really hard to animate as well, whereas teddies and like we've done robots, they're super easy because they're just moving like that.
Yeah.
But with people, it's so fluid,
Uh-huh.
so it'd be really
And
hard.
the uncanny valley is
Yeah.
dangerous.
Yeah, you don't want to risk creeping people out.
Yeah. Unless that's the goal, you know? Like yeah, awesome. Well, obviously I don't want to rush past talking about the video, so anybody who has any questions about the video, feel free to put them in the chat or say them out loud if you have the capacity to do so. But I do want to ask you, in your time making music, or just kind of in your time making art, since you have been working with different forms of art longer, let's talk about some of the particularly low times, some of the lessons you learned through failure or struggle.
It's been a lot of failure. I guess I think the lowest times have been like probably just getting negative things, I guess, online. And everybody who has made music and used Submit Hub knows how brutal that can be.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like shocking what people will actually say. So there's been lots of times where you pour your heart and your soul into like a song, and even if I never really love the things I make, but at the same time, you're putting yourself out there, and then when somebody just like crushes it, it's never a good feeling. But I guess they're probably like the lowest times, because as well it piles on top of thoughts you're already having about the song, and bad.
Yeah, it takes one person to prove a doubt right, and
Yes.
a million to convince you it's actually worth making.
Yeah.
That is perfect the way you put that. Yeah.
That's so deep.
I feel like people do use the term deep sincerely, but anytime I hear it, I just imagine someone is making fun of me.
Hashtag deep.
Hashtag deep.
Yeah, that's hashtag deep. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the joke one.
Yeah, no, I think so. And it's funny, I keep forgetting to do this. This is kind of a new format for the show, but I keep telling myself I'm gonna go first. I'm gonna say my negative thing first to kind of set the tone of vulnerability and openness. But this particular time, the thing I was going to say, I gave it a cute name. Where is Flawdo? Because it seems like when you show somebody something for the first time, they're playing this weird, magnifying glass game where they're like, what can I say is wrong with this? Either to help them or to prove my own talent superior in some way. And it's like, I really just want you to hear the ideas that I have, the passion, the care, the thing that I enjoyed and spent my time doing and am now risking sharing with you. I want you to spend at least one whole listen just enjoying that for a moment before you pull out the magnifying glass. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And they're risking absolutely nothing. That's what annoys me most about those Submit Hub curators, is that they are staying anonymous, making money,
Yeah.
just putting their thoughts out with complete disregard for the vulnerable position on the other side of the interaction.
Yeah.
I'm grinding a literal axe right now.
Yeah. It's like we need to figure out some way to track down their art. What do you make? Let's find that on the internet.
Yeah. Because I really think that that's the best response to somebody saying that your music sucks. It's like, no, you suck.
Yeah. That's true.
Those two words kind of sum it up for me, but I don't know. Maybe they deserve better. I don't think they do.
Yeah.
It's true though. I mean, you can get hundreds of positive comments, but it's always the one that pokes at something you're already having doubts about that you remember the most.
Yeah. I had an experience on one of the subreddits where it had 200 oh my god, this is so cool, holy shit, how'd you do this? And then there was this one just long paragraph that was like, man, your voice is kind of shrilly. I mean, you're not really that great at bass. You're kind of just doing this. I'm like, the production could use a little effort, even though I stated it was a demo. And I was like, man, I don't care about the 200 comments. This one sucks. And then I went to their profile, and they didn't have any music out. They didn't have anything to be judged for. And I don't like fighting fire with fire, but I try not to really take it personally unless they act like they look like they know what they're talking about. Because like if some random dude on the street's like, "Your music sucks," and then if like Dave Grohl's like, "Your music's great," obviously I'm gonna trust someone who knows what they're talking about.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I've been getting way better at that. But at the beginning, I was like, "I'm just gonna stop. This is not fun."
Yeah.
I'm very glad you did not stop.
Yeah, me too.
You know, across the board, honestly, like I think the value of what people make is like the value of a human being. You know, it happens before they learn anything. You know, like but before you have a job, before you know how to speak, before you know how to walk, there's something about existence that is valuable. And I think the same thing is when that person who has value spends their time doing something, creating something, sharing something, like I think it automatically is valuable. You know, obviously if it's a toe tapper, that's a big plus. You know, or a heartbreaking story about teddy bears, that's also a plus. You know what I mean? But I think people sometimes get what is a plus and what is foundational value mixed up, and it sucks to be on the receiving end of that misunderstanding, for sure. But yeah, man, Em, thanks for sharing that. I don't want to leave you in the dumps too long, and I also don't want to rush past anything anybody else has said. Also, if you guys are seeing the chat, people are communicating with us there as well. Feel free to read out loud or just respond to anything anybody's saying. There are some great folks. They're all good IMFers like us, you know. We don't let other subreddit people in here. No, thank you.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
I love
Nasty.
in the song. I feel like we didn't talk about the song as much as the video, but I love that moment where the guitar bends in that kind of dissonant
Yes. Yeah.
key. Like I love when, you know, like pretty songs have like those little thorns in there that, you know, like a little bit of intentional ugliness is like a really smart thing to put in a song like that.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, I had a lot of people say to take that out, like quite a few, and then some. Yeah, I was just like, I don't know. My gut was just saying leave it in, and that was like the part of the song that I liked the most, so I just kept it. But it definitely caused some people have like very strong opinions about that. But I'm glad that you liked it.
Yeah. I think it's a jam. Thanks for saying that, River.
I can even see how like someone from, you know, like a marketing perspective or whatnot would say take that out. But I think it's all the more stronger that for, you know, like for artistic reasons you kept it in.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Yeah, it makes the nice chords, however you want to call that, it makes them sound nicer because it's not like the same thing. You're kind of like doing one of these.
Yeah.
And it keeps like the listener kind of just like, oh shit, that's awesome.
Yeah. One of the main things that I listen for whenever I'm giving feedback is kind of that like, not necessarily like attention grabbing, but like, did it stay interesting? Did you do something other than chords and vocals? Even if you just did the chords differently one time out of 10, you know, like something to break up the landscape and give me something new to invite me back to experience the music more fully. You know what I mean? Like I think often it's usually like, well, there's no bridge in this song, and the bridge is the point of the song. Like that kind of is how the feedback comes across, I think. But yeah, I agree. Like with what you're all saying, like it's a perfect little, you know, sea salt in the chocolate of the song. You know.
Yeah, it really captures like it matches the lyrics a lot because it kind of captures that sense of uneasiness, that feeling of like a little bit of conflict, a little bit of discomfort. I thought it was really well matched. So I'm a big feeling person, and unless on the technical side myself, I'm really about like how the song feels, and that moment definitely took it to the next level.
I'm glad that you thought that. I'm exactly the same. Like, I don't really know much. And people even, I'm like low-key ashamed to say, I didn't know what the word dissonance was. And then people were like, oh, the dissonant chord. And I was like, that was intentional. And I just like kept messing around and it kind of just sounded the way I wanted it to sound. but I was like, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, yeah. Some of my favorite songs I've ever made happened before I knew what the hell I was doing. You know, like I felt self-conscious because I'm playing G and C back and forth on the guitar just as fast as I can and I'm yelling. But like when I look back at those songs, I meant them. I meant them more than any song I've written in the past like few years.
Oh
you know?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. It's enjoyable. If only there was a way to like, and I guess there is kind of like flow state, you know, where you practice a lot, you learn a lot more, but then you can enter that almost primitive way of creating like whenever you want, like a switch. That'd be a good way to go, I guess.
Yeah, I kind of relating to that because I graduated from a music school and I can't listen to music that I used to listen to and be like, oh, like that's like, it's not panned all the way, or it's kind of like it's a little bit out of tune, or this or that, and then I like do that to my music when I'm writing. So I'm kind of just like, I'm kind of done learning stuff right now. I'm just
Yeah.
gonna like turn my brain off and like go monkey mode a little bit.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I definitely spend a lot of time trying to turn my musician ear off. You
Yeah.
know, now I have developed, you know, like a knowledge generally of what things are and what it is I'm listening to, but I think I spend a lot of time trying to override those instincts and get back to music as, you know, like a I think you when we were talking T-Rex earlier, you said like magic versus cooking. And I really like that, you know, like get back to the magic instead of seeing it as a list of ingredients.
Yeah, yeah.
You know?
Measuring
'Cause that
grams.
can definitely take the heart out of it.
Yeah, for sure. I think. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
But I think my mic's glitching up.
Oh, I thought you were speaking. Apologies.
It's okay.
We're at the four-way stop and we're both like waving each other on.
He's like, go ahead, man, you got here first.
I'm sorry. I want to come back. I want to ask what have been some of the more encouraging or motivational or just wholesome, uplifting moments you've had since you started making music or art in general.
Yeah, I'd say the highs have been like probably either there's probably two things that stand out, and it would be either putting things on IMF specifically, shout out again, because so many people, it just shocked me how many people would be like, they take time out of their day to not only like listen to my song, but then tell me what I can do to make it better, and tell me not only that, but they'll like point out the things they saw potential in, and so many just kind-hearted strangers. That was a high, and I've met so many amazing people through it. Like some of my closer friends now are from that kind of community, so I guess that was a high. And then the other high would be probably when I got asked to do a gig, which I'm doing next week, which I'm terrified about.
Nice.
But I'm like, so yeah, it's only like a tiny acoustic thing, but it should be cool. And I just it didn't feel real. Like anybody was really paying much attention. And then somebody contacted me for that, and I was like, what?
Yeah.
People listen to this?
That's awesome. What's more about like, are you opening for somebody or how's the gig going?
So it's like with all COVID restrictions and everything, they're kind of splitting the night up into 3 sections, and each section has 3 artists. So I'm in the headlining bit for the 3 little bit, but it's I feel like I've just like walked into a room I'm not meant to be in, and then I'm just kind of going with it.
Yeah,
like,
yeah. I think that's a good mindset to have. You know, like there's a book I really like called Zen Guitar, and it kind of plays into some of the like stop learning, start feeling stuff we've already talked about. But one thing he talks about is every time you pick up your instrument, mentally put on a white belt. You know what I mean? Like mentally say, I am a beginner again. I am new at this moment. I am new with this instrument. I respect this instrument. I respect this time. You know, and like I think you're gonna get like the best outcome from your performances and your recording and your writing time if you treat them like that, you know? So that's good. Be scared. Fear is value.
It's really scary. It just shocks me that anybody would like want to hear it, and then I'm like, oh my god, I can't believe it's happening. And then because yeah, I'm just shocked that everyone is just so lovely and that people are doing
If
this.
there weren't an ocean to get across, I would absolutely be there.
Yeah,
to see
yeah.
it.
Same.
You should
There's
sneak like a live stream, a phone in, you know, like live stream from a music stand.
Yeah. Just stand. That would be really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I'm excited. I'm excited to hear how that goes. Be sure to update us.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to record some of it. I'm not really sure what the rules are, but I'm sure it'll be fine.
Yeah. You are a rock star now. There are no rules. You make the rules. That's the rule.
For forgiveness, not permission.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, yeah. So of course, again, I don't want to rush, but I also do feel it's my responsibility to facilitate a smooth transition into the next thing. That's why I point out the transitions every time, so they're maximum smooth. But anyway, I want to move Raspy. We're gonna listen to your song next. Do you want to tell us some about? It's funny. My link says Doomsavers, and I know that's not the name of the song. Biohazard. You want to tell me something about the song?
Absolutely. So this song was born the very early days of the initial lockdown in about, or then it was like late March, I feel like. It was actually River and I had decided to write every day for a period of time because we know at that time we were like, oh, it's just going to be a few weeks.
Yeah.
It's early, we're going to be having some more time, maybe a couple months. So we can do this. We can keep it up. We can write every day,
Yeah, for sure.
So I think this song happened, I don't remember if it was day 1 or day 2, but it happened really fast. It ended up being the second full song that I was able to write. And I don't even know how long. So yeah, it was a big deal. And what we ended up doing for this was NPR was doing the Tiny Desk concert competition, and we decided we just needed to get it in. So we got together and did a few live takes of it and set up this video. And here we go.
Yeah, heck yeah. That's perfect introduction. I'm going to switch over to it now.
I'm a biohazard. Feel me go insane.
Hey, fantastic. I did not realize the first time I watched that video that you had that like security tape in the back, that warning tape.
It actually says Biohazard. We ordered
Yes.
it on Amazon.
It's still there. That's my wall.
It's still there.
That's fantastic.
But
Yes.
have a look.
I
There
love
it
it.
is.
Yeah.
That's
That's
so
that's
awesome.
attention to detail. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, great. So you wrote that. I guess you wrote the whole song, music and all, like in a day, then, or was it already kind of a concept you had laying around?
It was like in a day. The lyrics, most of the lyrics came to me the first day, and then I workshopped the rest of it as it came, and then I brought River in to help me with the actual music part. But the original vision stayed extremely the same.
Mm.
Yeah, we had a few things. Of course, obviously River collaborated with me, and we added a lot. But yeah, that pretty much just happened. I was sitting on the couch right over there, and I just have this first recording of me singing "I'm a biohazard" into my phone, and it, you know.
Yeah, yeah. That's awesome, man.
And oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, please go ahead.
It was one of those melodies that was telling me exactly what the chords needed to be. You know, like the chords are very much just baked into that melody. You know, like it rises, the chords rise with it. It's that simple.
Yeah, yeah. That's
Nothing complicated.
I thought there were some. I mean, okay, from my very limited chord knowledge, there are some moments in the, I guess the way the vocal melody goes with the chords that feel not dissonant, but like jazzy or something. You know what I mean? Like they don't feel 1 1 5 3. You know, like very basic.
Yeah.
So, did that also just come naturally?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was
because it's an
intentional.
odd little melody.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Odd little melody needs odd little chords.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. Great work, guys. Really, really great work. From the height of that great work, let's talk some about the depths of your time making music. Some of the challenges or maybe lessons you've learned from failure or struggle. Recipe.
Yeah, absolutely. Talk about vulnerability, right? So, I guess the lowest times in my life with music, it's kind of they go hand in hand. It's like the lowest times of my life go into the lowest lows of my music because, but most specifically, it was several years ago now. I had the wrong people around me, kind of that I was working with. People that kind of were trying to pull me down a little bit, and it was after I was trying to regain my own voice from my own very starts and stops, dealing on and off with depression and on and off with that, and I was kind of getting built up by the wrong people for the wrong reasons, and there was some just a not great situations with some people that really just crushed my spirit. I ended up, it hit me really hard. And I don't remember if it was right before this or right after this. I don't even think I sang for a year, like not even in the shower. Like it got to me really bad. It was a lot of confidence shaking stuff. But thankfully I'm doing a lot better from now. But it is pretty bad. You get hit that hard with stuff that you feel so vulnerable about, automatically. I'm very vulnerable with my music and, how it lives inside of me. So when you expose that and it's mistreated, it can really shake you for a while. So that definitely was the lowest time of my life with music. Absolutely.
For sure. Thanks for sharing that. I feel like there's no way to share that happening without remembering some of what it was like in the middle of it, So I appreciate that. Do you think there was maybe a specific thing? Obviously, the cliches are cliches for a reason. The cliche is time. Time heals all wounds. With time, you kind of get over pain, but get over is, I don't like that term, but that's the one I'm going to use for now. Do you think there were practical things that maybe you did or that happened that helped ease your transition back into creating?
Yeah, I mean, I think that it started off, well, I jumped into that project that River and I ended up meeting in at the time, and
Yeah.
that helped a lot. I was still being really held back. Actually, I didn't think I was going to talk about this, but I used to drink too much.
Mm.
So I used to have a lot of anxiety with performing. So I would show up to practices and I'd have to have a flask and I'd have to
Yeah.
get myself through it because I was just so terrified
Mm.
every time to kind of open back up again. And I think that what really actually got me to really start creating again was when I quit drinking. And I think that that has actually allowed me to really rebuild and deal with my anxieties when it comes to music
Yeah.
for myself personally, because it wasn't making it better.
For sure.
It was, it was making it worse for
Yeah.
me.
That's I I feel a need to say something helpful, but all I can really say is thank you for sharing that again. Like I know that's kind of becoming repetitive. I'm sorry, but that is
This is art. This is what we do,
yeah,
right?
yes,
You know?
exactly. Yeah, it's inspiring on multiple. It's inspiring in a way that I did not expect this conversation to be. Because that is a problem that can leak into every single aspect of your life. Addiction or the feeling a need to cover up, run away from, or guard yourself from problems. In reality and stuff. And I think with or without your music, I'm extremely grateful and proud to hear that you did that for yourself. That's fantastic.
Thank you.
And if it leads to more music, then the universe shall be grateful too.
Hey.
Yeah.
Bonus.
That's beautiful.
It's so hard too because like all these ways of guarding yourself that somehow they can feel like it's making it easier, but just kind of like by definition, like guarding yourself is getting you further and further away from the point of art, which is exposing yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
So-
true. The best art comes from a little vulnerability, at least. Like a controlled amount of danger. When you were saying that, it's funny, River. When you were saying that just now, I thought about my yard because I put off mowing it, which means it's only going to get harder to mow. Like there's never going to be a day when it's easier because I haven't mowed it yet. It's just going to keep getting harder.
It reminds me of,
Yeah.
I don't even remember who said it or what the exact saying was, but it was like, that little feeling or that thought, that bad thing, if you ignore it, all it does is go into the basement and lift weights.
Oh man, yeah. There's a author I love, Thich Nhat Hanh, talks about how you've got to bring those feelings up once a day and have a conversation with them, or else you don't know what they're doing. They are your children, and you have no idea where your children are.
Don't let your insecurities get swole.
Yeah.
It's bad.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I want that on a t-shirt.
Yeah.
IMF, make it happen.
Yeah, IMF, let's do this. Don't let your insecurities get swole. I feel like the O, we got to figure out a way to put shutter shades on the word swole. I don't know why. SWOLE, so like maybe on the O and the E, we put like
I like it.
some shutter shades on there. Swole just feels like such a cool bro word to me,
Oh yeah,
Yeah, but
absolutely.
it's ironic.
Yeah. Awesome, man. That's I feel like there's almost no way your high moment, your victory, your high thing you're going to share is going to not be that you like got your drinking under control. You got your addiction under control. But please share that with me and let's talk some more.
Yeah, I mean, that ties into it.
Yeah,
Absolutely. So it definitely helped me relay the groundwork and actually build from the bottom that, standing on unsteady ground doesn't really help you actually build, yourself back up. So I was able to kind of rebuild everything in my life and in my music, and it's the same thing for me. It's my life and my creative. It's the same thing.
Yeah,
I guess my most recent highs, I remember when River and I were in that project, and he asked me to write, finish his song. That was the beginning of it. it really helped me re-find my voice, and it started to really re-engage the things that I wanted to re-engage with. And I guess the biggest highs have been all really recent. They've been working with River, honestly, being able to have this partner that I can, just be vulnerable with and work with, and be able to kind of communicate without, like just getting each other on a level that words don't really, because communication's so hard. So it's really great to be able to communicate musically with him in the way that we do. And recently, I guess I'll tie back to when my sister and I were young, and I had the no singing rule at the dinner table.
Yeah.
Well, River and I just performed at my sister's wedding, and it was fantastic. And right now, that feels like my big high right now. Other than creating, and all we did was covers. We did our own versions of covers, but getting back out there, being able to perform live with this, this thing that has just really, really helped me out has been, that was a big high.
Yeah, man, that's fantastic. How I don't believe you orchestrated it, but like the first thing you told us and this high point are BFFs in my brain now. Like you've told a story. I love that. That's fantastic.
Thank
I will
you.
also say about that song that we did together in the band, which is a really good song that we should definitely rework and redo at some point. For me, that was a first for me, where like I've been in a lot of bands and I've always felt like giving up my song is kind of like leading it to the slaughter, like because like once it's out there and I've let somebody have their way with it, it's never coming back to me the way that it was.
Yeah.
Like I'm very like reticent to do that, and like I was really scared because it was a really important song to me, and then it came back better than it was, and that's honestly the first time that I've felt that way with any kind of collaboration. So that was really special, and that was around when we figured out that we might have something good going together.
Yeah, man, you do for sure. I as the primary authority on what is good and bad, y'all's music is good. So
yes,
thank you for sharing.
Yeah, I honestly can't believe like how well you guys work together. Like you said, working with other people is such a hard dynamic when it comes to like artistic things. But you just play off each other so well, like vocally, and like I can't get over how well it works. It's just shocking.
Are there?
It is shocking. But I can't get over how you work well with your sibling. That to me is like completely insane.
Yeah.
She's like a saint. She's a proper saint.
That's awesome.
I don't know how both of you do anything with somebody else.
Yeah.
I'm like, I just do it by myself. I don't want to deal with anyone else.
Yeah.
Especially my sibling. There's no way in hell.
It's funny. I wanted to actually ask. So like in the time you guys have been making things together, Doomsavers, not necessarily specifically, but including that. Do you find that it's just easier to shift who is in control of a given idea, or are you just kind of always both in this collaborative mindset?
I think we are both more than I've ever experienced in any other band or any other collaboration. There are definitely times, like Biohazard, which we just listened to, is absolutely her song that I'm trying my best to support. And then the one at the end is kind of the opposite. That's my song that she supported. But there are a lot of times, like the one that we were talking about, where we are in this unknown sort of middle ground where our Venn diagrams are crossing, and this new thing is being born. But
yeah, absolutely. I think that it's on that note, us placing trust in the other and giving the other songs to play with, and that's very natural for us. Absolutely.
Yeah, and it's never even like spoken like, okay, this is my song, like don't you dare corrupt my original artistic vision. like I just realized now we've never had that conversation. We've never really talked about it. It was just, it seems very natural that
Yeah.
we instinctively flip between the collaboration and the support mode.
Yeah.
Both of which I think are very important when you're
Yeah.
working with someone else.
Absolutely, and that's I was gonna mention that I feel similar to what you're saying. You felt kind of before, in like, that's my song. Please don't touch my song.
Yeah.
But also, it's funny because when I'm writing a song, I'm extremely hesitant to bring in even the most talented people to help with it, because there's just some weird control thing that I really like to facilitate my song's growth. It's weird. But when it's drums, when I'm putting drums or mandolin on something for somebody, I don't care. I don't care.
Yeah.
You can tell me it's terrible and I'll just do it again, like, happily. There's I don't know. I think there's a shifting between that that comes with, I guess, just like experience, or like origin of idea. So if the two of you are kind of making all your ideas already in this this collaborative space, like if they're Doomsavers ideas and not River or Raspy's ideas, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I think it's very rare for two people to be on the exact same page artistically. Like even it's just not feasible. Like the Beatles, whatever famous collaborations you look at, that just doesn't always happen. But in those cases, you can always write on someone else's page and find your own, like the value in that as well. And then sometimes when your pages are overlapping, that's a magic moment. But that can never be the case all the time.
If you're in the same book, then you could probably work together.
Yeah. You got to be in the same book.
Yeah, for sure, man. Well,
I think one of the things that helps us, River, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that, like, I think that we look at songs very similarly, as far as like the feeling of them and wanting the lyrics to be important, and you're communicating not just like a message, but like an experience. And I think that we kind of mesh really well on that just from the core of it. So it becomes easier once we understand the other person's vision. It's like, oh, okay, all right.
Yeah. You have the same kind of like completion list in mind for a song to go from idea to song. Yeah. That's cool. Well, sorry, my phone just came up and told me my battery's almost dead. Interview short. I'm just kidding. Let's move on to the one man. What did I say at the beginning? The unstoppable one man band. Matt, how hard are you to work with, just in your own experience?
I hate Matt sometimes, but I gotta love him sometimes.
Yeah.
The drummer side kind of sucks, but the bassist just kind of chill.
Yeah. Do you have different? I have different names for all my instrument players, like in my one-man band. Do you do that?
I don't.
You should.
But in the music video that we're gonna show, we created different characters because it gets kind of like when I post videos on the subreddit, I change outfits. Like, it's not like I do it different days. I record the guitar. I'm like, okay, cool. Let me go like take my pants off, put a pair of shorts on this time. But yeah, when I perform, I make sure to try and change it up a little bit. But yeah.
Yeah, awesome.
Glad to know that even in the fictional version of a band, the drummer is still the pain in the ass.
Yes, 100%.
Some things have to be conserved.
Yeah. It's it is a tradition. It's like the tradition of making music. Whoever's doing the percussion is just got to be a little hard to work with. My family is here. Are you okay? Oh. Well, let's listen to Matt's song. I will switch over to this song. Matt, we'll talk more about the song and some of your personal journey on when we get back into it.
It's all good. Can't hear it. Oh wait, I have it paused.
Just fade away until you feel complete, and dodging all the insecurities
Wonderful. Whoops. Got another song playing. Let me get back on the
Wow.
screen. Yeah. So there.
I love that video.
Yeah. I sent that video. So I had a friend, a coworker friend who we would talk about music occasionally, and he shared that he was a fan of Chevelle. And I was like, what about like Foo Fighters? You know, they're like rock and roll type, modern rock and roll. And he was like, oh yeah, I love Foo Fighters. And I was like, well, let me tell you, my man, I got a thing for you. And I sent him that video. His reply was, I like the music. The guy seems like he has too much going on though. Just like video wise, like the video I think was a lot for him to take in.
No, I think it was just enough.
Yeah. I agree. It's fantastic, man. How long did you work on that?
On the song or the video?
Both, and then total.
Okay, so the video was done by my good friends Morgan and Liv, who had done the For the Love of God music video, and we had a week before the Chaser video, we had filmed another music video that's not coming out yet, and then they're gonna work on another one for a new song I'm putting out.
Nice.
But after doing For the Love of God, it had a story, and then the one that we had done previously was like very like emotionally involved, and I had to be in a kiddie pool full of like extremely frozen water because it was cold outside.
Yeah.
And I was literally like, you can see in the cuts, I'm like shivering while singing. So I was like, as long as we're indoors and we can like not be serious, then I'm down.
Yeah.
So that song doesn't really have a storyline really, and I knew that I wanted to have performance in it, and that's all I told them. Because with them, I'm like, do what you want. Like, this is where you succeed. The music's done. So, like, you just tell me what to do.
Yeah.
So they pretty much just came over one day with a shit ton of props. They had the cakes. Like, they didn't tell me anything. And they're like, okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to get the music recorded, and then you're going to smash a cake in your face, and you're going to claw it on your face, and then we're going to spray blood and all that kind of stuff with the little skits in the middle. But we had a little side joke that every time we record a music video, it's going to call back to a music video we had previously done. So you can see that the maid murdered the TV head guy who was in the For the Love of God video.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was just an entire day of just fun. We had the green screen, and they're like, can I put a picture of a monkey on the green screen? And they're like, of course, why not?
Yeah.
So yeah, the music video was fun.
What else? What else is the green screen for?
Exactly. Like, come on. So yeah, the music video was like the most fun I've ever had doing anything really. And for the music, that main riff that's in the verses, I had that riff. I think I wrote it in October, and I posted it on my Instagram. I was like, hey, what do you think of this? And people were like, this is pretty sick. And I was trying to force an entire song based around that riff. And I had like 3 or 4 other riffs that I was trying to make into their own songs. And one day I was like, all right, let's see what happens if they all happen in the same song. And the song just like happened. It was a really weird experience. But yeah, the story behind it, it's I'm very talented at being friends with toxic people, and not getting good at cutting them off. So this is about that. This like one person I had been very vulnerable with had just turned out to be a different person around everyone they were around. So I was like, oh, you're kind of like chasing fame, kind of chasing popularity. That's where Chaser came from.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's kind of just about someone living in their own space, especially being here in Nashville. I'm sure you know they're very like egocentric people here.
Yeah.
So yeah, pretty much that like general vibe of the people in Nashville. Too.
Yeah. I know what you mean. It's kind of like a what can I get out of you? Like that.
Yeah.
That is your total value as a human being. How can you advance my claim to fame and fortune?
People collectors.
Yeah.
People collectors. Yes.
Which honestly, like, sounds way spookier than what we're talking about right now.
That sounds a little illegal, but
it sounds like a it sounds like a Doomsaver, but with like a pillowcase.
I mean, how else are the skeleton melodicas gonna get made?
I mean, you have a point.
Need some bones.
Necromancy, music instruments. Yeah. I'm a fan. Well, awesome, man. I think that may honestly tie into what you're going to share as far as like kind of a low point or a lesson you've learned through failure or struggle. You know, being in Nashville in general. If you just want to say I live in Nashville, I'll say, yeah, all right, gotcha. But please
Yeah,
share.
so I mean, I will be honest, I don't think I've had a direct like failure with music that's been like so detrimental, besides all of the nasty comments that come along with everything. Um, but I mean, I have been obsessed with music for as long as I can remember, and I mean, the music has like saved my life like millions of times. And I always wanted to be like, if I don't care if I make money off of music, if I know if some, 'cause- okay, I don't even know where to go with this. I was not good at being vulnerable in music, and I was afraid of what people would think of me if I was like, I'm sad. Um, Especially as a male, we're supposed to be like, "Well, yeah, man, burgers and steak and cutting wood. Um,
Feelings
but
are
I
for
was raised
ladies.
by
Yeah.
my mom. My dad's not a good person. And so I learned how to be vulnerable. I got that like tender side of motherhood from her. So after writing music for a while, I started thinking about my first album, and I, instead of going to therapy, which I know I should go to, I would pretend to talk to someone, just writing it down in my journal, and then I'd throw it away. But this one time, I wrote the sentence, "I don't feel like I belong here anymore," and it was because I wasn't being true to myself with my music. I was like trying to, I wasn't doing the right thing in my opinion. So I just started being like, I'm not going to be poetic about this anymore. I'm going to be as straightforward, like, I don't care what people think about me. And so I made the album as extremely vulnerable as possible. The first song was about how like I gave my dad so many chances and he kept screwing it up. So now I have like this weird like not daddy issues, but like I try to learn the what not to do with kids if I ever have them. And there's stuff about like I had a nightmare that my mom had died, so I wrote about that, and then I wrote about like my personal experiences. So it kind of ties together for like my good part. So now I feel like cleansed of all of that after being so vulnerable with myself. Like I would have these thoughts and I'd be like, no, no, that's not me. Come on, I'm supposed to like let's go on a hike and be in nature.
Yeah.
And the pandemic really helped me do that because I couldn't go out and distract myself. I couldn't go back to classes. I could log out of Zoom and be with my thoughts. So yeah, I don't really know where I was going with that, but I
No,
feel a lot better from being vulnerable, and that has been my goal to be as straightforward as possible. Yeah, and my shining moment, I guess. I have two that will stay with me forever. When Loam reached out to me and was like, "Hey man, I don't know you, but I want to remix your song." I was like, "Okay, sure, whatever." Probably gonna like put a trap beat behind it and call it a day. And he was like, "Send me all your stems and I'll get back to you." And then like a month went by or 2 months. He's like, "Hey man, I got this girl to rap on it and it's a completely different song." And I'm like, "Okay, like whatever." So I listened to it and I'm like, "Holy moly, like someone really heard another song from my song
Yeah.
and just like made it theirs." So that was really like just so cool to me. And then somebody had DM'd me on Instagram and they were like, "This one song, I've never heard someone talk about it the way you do, and I have experienced something similar, and like I'm afraid of talking about it because I don't know that anyone else has experienced it." And I was like, "Bruh, like me too." That's why I put it out there, because music had saved me, so I don't know if I could, be relatable to somebody else. So that's like, I'm just gonna keep doing that. I don't really strive for anything else, but
Yeah.
to give therapy to other people, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like you found like a more peaceful relationship with your own feelings, thoughts, and creative process through it. But do you think that ease has like translated into just creative freedom, like practically, like the actual making of sound and playing of music? Do you think that that's become easier too?
Um, it's it's kind of like a double-edged sword with it. It's been like, oh, I know that I can access this stuff now
Mm.
and not be afraid of it. But at the same time, I go into music like, okay, what do I have to dig up? You know, what kind of like trauma do I have to dig up to make like a hit?
Yeah.
So it's trying to find that healthy balance
Mhm.
and not be toxic to myself. So I'm still learning about that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's excellent. I think when a person can say I'm still learning about a thing, it means they're probably giving it the time and space that it needs. So that's good, man. I'm excited to hear more of the things you make in your still like so much time left on this planet, you know, statistically. Um, yeah, 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 yeah.
Knocking on wood.
Fingers crossed. Um, that's awesome, man. Thank you very much for sharing that. I feel like a lot of people have shared with me before, and in my own experience, this like moment when I guess I realized music was therapy for me. You know, River gave me a term for it, like an exorcism. You know,
Oh,
and I've used that ever since. Like I don't waste my time with the word therapy anymore. I am exorcising creatures from my soul.
yeah. Yeah, and for this next song that I'm releasing at the end of the month, I wanted it to come after my album because it was about like I got this toxic stuff out, I'm ready to live and survive.
Hmm.
And part of that like healing process is actually putting it out. So I've been sitting on it and I'm like, I need to release this song. And then I wrote Chaser and I'm like, obviously this song has to come first because it's like kind of badass. So yeah.
For sure, man. That's excellent. I think there's a tremendous amount of value in like acknowledging other people are receiving your vulnerability and not then backing away from it.
Right.
So I'm grateful.
Yeah. And it's the funniest part of this whole journey so far is what people think I act like based off the music I put out. Like this is I don't have a resting bitch face. I have a resting like tired face.
Yeah.
Like I'm not like this angry person who needs to scream or like I'm not doing crack or getting tat on my face or
Yeah.
anything. I'm just like, man, I just graduated college. I want to go outside and sit in the grass and like listen to a podcast or something. I don't want to beat anyone up.
Hmm.
Yeah, you've got a very dualistic nature about you. I can tell between hearing you talk and seeing your music.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure. I wonder if someday down the road we're gonna have like the FU's acoustic album, and it is just about sitting in the
Right.
grass and listening to podcasts. You know,
I
people are
do
all
I
like,
do have a
send
ton
it
of
back.
acoustic songs that I don't tell anyone about and I put on Bandcamp like
Nice.
under like a different name
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
I listen to folky stuff and like ukulele stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of like I like writing that and being poetic.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, putting that under the FUs would be like, the hell are you doing, bro?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I was gonna say with it seems like you're starting to, if I understood you right, you're starting to create some lore in your your
Yeah.
music videos. If you become very big, be prepared to have to, keep feeding that lore thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
People,
Oh
the
yeah.
fans are gonna.
I love creating the characters. We had a skit for the music video, where it like quick zoom to like me wearing different outfits. Like, all right, we need another music video. What's gonna be? And there's like me in the maid outfit. It's like, hear me out, guys. Like, let's do this.
That's awesome.
So yeah, that part's pretty fun.
That's really
Yeah, and it's
cool.
super
I'm
interesting.
excited.
Oh, whoops! Did I cut somebody off? Oh,
I don't think
mercy!
so.
I'm having latency. I guess I'm sorry.
I was just commenting. You're good.
Um, I love how like I mean silly is really the best word for your Instagram content. But then like you talk about your music containing so much of yourself and your vulnerability, and it's like almost again like River was saying, like there's this duality to it. You know, you're resting tired face one day, absolute nonsense Instagram, and then vulnerable high volume rock and roll the next. So
Yeah.
I enjoy it, man.
Yeah, just the last thing on the funniest part
Um,
to me, I wish I could record is I guess I'll just keep talking. Okay. Is when I record like these videos or when I post on the subreddit, it's me like playing every instrument. I'm like kind of going like this and like jumping around my guitar, and then the second I hit stop on the record, I'm just like, I
Yeah.
need a coffee, man. So it's kind of like it's fun to like pretend to be like, oh, this is the bassist. This is how the bassist is supposed to act. I'm kind of like, yeah. And then the drummer's all kind of like this, and
yeah,
the
yeah.
vocals, yeah.
I love that.
Hmm. Yeah, you,
But
you
I'm
you
just,
you are your own Spinal Tap, you know.
yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome, man.
About the song also, I really liked we were talking earlier about like subverting expectations and like throwing thorns in songs. I really like when the second chorus comes in, instead of like the standard blasting drum beat, it's like the tuk 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 tuk, you know.
Mm,
Oh yeah,
That's a really smart choice.
yeah, there's
that
some
was
Very
great
really cool.
effective.
great use of like snare rolls in that song for sure.
Yeah.
I knew I wanted to do one someday, and I'm
Yeah,
like, do it.
that's awesome. Um, well, I think that kind of brings us to where I usually will do a fake advertisement because I don't actually get paid to do advertisements, but I like to talk about things that I like. And today, my intended plan was to talk about IMF, both the subreddit and the Discord, in ways that would make people listening who don't already know what it is want to go and find it. But I think we have all already done some of that, which is good. You can't talk enough about the supportive community that has helped facilitate these creations we have all felt good making, you know. And I think there have been a lot of almost positive checkpoints along the way to creating things that you get to share with people who don't look for the flaws first. You know, who don't give you a copy paste submit hub rejection as opposed to hearing what you're doing. You know, so I wanted to maybe spend time praising IMF that has not only made us all friends and aware of one another's art, but also has in some ways helped help make more of our things come to life. So thank you guys for already doing that in your individual talks. But also, feel free to do some more of that right now if you want.
Oh, I will promote and shout out IMF till the day I die, man. I
Yeah, River's got the shirt on too. Yeah.
Yeah, I literally like just going to music school, you kind of think what you're taught is the only way things are. And I was like, okay, I gotta put money into marketing and PR, and I just have to wait and hope it kind of takes off.
Mm.
And then I was kind of looking at different subreddits, and I'm like, oh, what the hell is this IMF thing? And I posted my first song in there, and I'm like, oh my God, like this is like free, like pretty much it's like free like compliments, and it's I literally like I can't even say enough positive things about the whole community. Like
Mm.
there's people at every different level of expertise, and there's people writing like the Irish whatever the bar chants.
Jigs? Those
Yeah,
called
there's
jigs?
people
Yeah.
doing that. There's people doing like death metal that will get along with people writing singer-songwriter stuff.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's definitely the least like egocentric place where musicians and songwriters and producers can come together. Sea shanties, that's what it is.
Shanties.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, and I definitely did not experience anything like that
Yeah.
going to a $40,000 a year school. Like, so the fact that it's free and that
Yeah. You
you
were getting
get
you were paying to get told you're not that good.
exactly. So I'm like, what the hell? This is a ripoff, man.
Yeah, yeah. For anybody who is indeed listening, doesn't already know what IMF is, it stands for Indie Music Feedback, and it is a place. I think the motto, Pax is in the chat. Pax and Volps started it, and they pretty much nurture it and care for it along the way. It would not be the community it is without their leadership, and I'm grateful for them. But also, I'm grateful for exactly what indie music feedback is, and I believe the kind of the subtitle, the motto is where your music is heard. And I love that, but also early on I remember telling people it's where like artists listen to artists. Like it's not sending your music out into the void for somebody to maybe stumble across and listen to. It is where our other artists have committed to listening because they have all been told, they've all been reassured that they have something to offer, even if they don't know how to mix a song, even if they don't know how to, write a chord progression. And I think in that mindset, everybody at every level not only has music to offer, but insights for one another's music to offer. I think that is what has really spoken to me and made me keep showing up even when I can't quite keep up because, again, I've said this a few times in this conversation, I'm kind of an old man these days. Mac's confusing me. Discord's a little too fast for me. But it's a Discord and a subreddit worth checking out. It's also, of course, a website. You can go to, I think it's indiemusicfeedback.com. Yeah, indiemusicfeedback.com spelled out. I didn't know if it was imf.com or indiemusicfeedback, but it is indeed indiemusicfeedback.com. There's blogs there. There's links to the subreddit. There's links to the Discord. Everything you might need to get connected with a community who wants to hear your music and wants to help you make your ideas better. Magic Jones is here. I don't know why Magic Jones is here, but I'm not necessarily against it.
Special guest star.
But anyway, that's what IMF is. I hope to see more people there. Mention this ad to get 10% off your first listen. I'll listen to your song for 10% of the song. I don't know exactly what I'm saying. Magic, what are you doing here? You're muted, Magic.
Awkward.
Yeah.
No, I just saw a lot of people here that looked cool, and I was like, I want to be part of the cool guys crew.
Well, I don't know if you know this about the Stay Creative Podcast Discord server, but it's about a podcast, and we're making one right now. So you're live. You're on the internet, Magic.
Right on.
Yeah. We were just about, and you're welcome to stay, but we're just about to listen to another Doomsavers track by River and Raspy, and I actually had the pleasure of featuring on this one. I played hand percussion and a little bit of mandolin, and it's quite a jam. So let's listen to it, and then we'll talk more with River about the creation of it and some of his own experience.
I'm the one you never see again. There's no point in asking where I am, but I still consider you a friend. I'm the one you didn't understand, didn't fit your image of a man. I tried, but came up with empty hands. And only the strangest dreams come true, so it seems. And you probably don't think I think of you, but I do. And though I can't get close to you, I love you. I do love you. I am on the lonely mountain, gushing like an endless fountain, wide open to anybody listening. Because this is what I have to do in order to get through to you. And it's never quite enough. That's nothing new.
Yeah, man. I love that song. And just so everybody knows, that is the extended version of the song. There is a radio edit version with far less drum solo. But I even offered, River to play the shorter one because it felt weird to play a song that so heavily featured me. But he insisted. We should
Not
do
weird.
the long one.
I especially appropriate. I mean, how often? Well, I was gonna say 3/5, but now it's exactly 1/2 of this podcast.
yeah, that's true.
Happens very often, so I mean, I'm glad that song happened to be finished at the time that this interview came about. That was pure happenstance.
Yeah,
But
yeah. I actually wanted to talk specifically about that. It's releasing today, right? People can listen to that elsewhere today.
on the streaming services.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. That's fantastic, man. I really enjoy that song. I think, I don't want to reveal too much, but I think because of that song, we are a band now, right? Are we still a
Yeah.
band, River? Okay. Just making sure. Yeah, I'm into it, man. Awesome.
That's a Stay Creative exclusive.
Yeah.
Anyone getting 2 hours into the episode.
They deserve that information. Yeah.
Correct.
Well, awesome. I do want to talk some with you, River, about some of like your low times creating music. Of course, you've been good to share quite a few things with us as other people have been answering, and I appreciate that. But this is kind of your corner. Tell us some about your own lessons and struggles.
Sure. I'm gonna kind of go back to high school because, like I said, it's been a very long journey for me, and a lot of my early like formational movements and way back then, but I still remember them very well. So like, I have at various times taken this whole thing a little too far. This whole, like obsession with music and like being the best, having the best possible catalog of songs that I can. And I think that there was definitely a time in high school where I was stupidly, like, very much, well, maybe not entirely stupidly, but misguided in the way that I was going about that. So I was like very much bought into the whole 10,000 hours thing, thinking like the more that I'll do music, the better I'll be, and music is what I want to do, so why would I do anything else?
Yeah.
And just spending countless hours locked up in my room, like twiddling with instruments and whatnot, like in the early teenage years of my life. And I think eventually, I think like my mistake there and what I realized was like, music is not like, I don't know, like being like a Tetris player, like where I think like your goal, if you want to be the best Tetris player, is to just play as much Tetris as you possibly can, I don't know much about, maybe there's other stuff in there, but I feel like that's the general idea, right? And I think with music, that's not really the case. Like, you have to go out there and live and gather these experiences that you're supposed to be singing about.
Yeah.
And so I was kind of putting the cart before the horse, thinking that like the more that I work on music, the better I'll be. And it turns out, no, like the more that I got out there and got my heart broken and like went out and lived, like the better my songs got, in a indirect way, I wasn't saying like, like I better go get my heart broken so that I'll be a better musician.
Yeah.
I was kind of like throwing my hands up, feeling like, what's missing here? I'm working so hard. And then I guess through that giving up, finding the actual answer was to get out there and live, which I did quite a lot of living. And now I can come back and kind of focus on the music again a little more and actually have things to sing about, I think that's very important, especially during this lockdown time where we're all kind of thinking, like, okay, this is time where I can really just put my head down and grind music out at all times. But I think the answer is always to have a little bit of life outside of your software of choice, you know, to
Yeah. Yeah.
provide the spice that actually makes the music good.
Mm.
Because no one
Yeah.
wants songs about working in Ableton Live or whatever, you
I
know.
was gonna say, like, my favorite, like, one of my favorite parts of that song is just the lyric. Like, you don't think I think about you, but I do, kind of thing. I'm like, oh, that gets me every time. I'm like, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's just so beautifully written.
Thank you. That song, it is kind of about the music making process in general, and this metaphor that I was working with, where it is kind of like climbing a mountain and then shouting from the top of it, you know, like as opposed to just saying something, instead like getting climbing gear, possibly getting a climbing team together,
Yeah.
and like putting all this work in and getting up to the top, and then like shouting out the thing that you were gonna say anyway. And I think like it's about kind of like finding purpose in that, the climb itself, because when you get up there, you know, like your voice might just get carried away by the wind and nobody might hear you unless they're really keenly listening. But if they are, I think the fact that you are screaming it from a mountaintop will make it that much more impactful. So that's kind of like what I had going on. And yeah, the like I don't think of you, but I do stuff was just like thinking about me actually hoping that I would reach like old friends, you know, who I'd like fallen out of like things to say with them, or like contact, you know, like that they would hear this music that I'm making that's like me screaming my feelings from a mountaintop, and they would be like, oh yeah, he thinks of me, and he's out there, you know.
I agree. There are so many. That line specifically, is fantastic, but also just every other line. You know, you could pick out and be like, this is the best line. You know, I like I don't remember the line before it, but gushing like an endless fountain. Like, I just love the visceral. You know, like gushing could be like you are on this mountaintop just saying a bunch of words, but it feels very bloody to me. The line, you know. Yeah, sure. I love it, man. Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah. So do you... I want to ask more specifically. I kind of skipped over talking about the song early on, but how long did how long was this song in the works? You know, as far as writing it, was it an easy one to write?
Yeah, a couple days, nice. I would say. I spent a lot of time, as I often do, asking myself if it needs more, and I don't know whether to count that as a part of the writing process or not.
Yeah.
Do that quite a lot. Like I sit around and be like, okay, I better sit on this and make sure that there's not like an extra bridge or like extra chorus or something that it needs. And that is part of the whole composing process. But
yeah.
I wasn't actually doing anything, so I don't know whether to count that or not.
I'd say the last time you actually made a change to it, that's when the billable hours stopped.
Maybe. I don't know.
I don't either, man.
Because the last thing we did was I changed one of my vocal lines.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. But both she and I are the kind of person where you know, like a week later we'll be like this one word, like the way it could be more emotive, like this one single phrase, and then set up a recording instrument to record 3 words, I think it was. It was like the never quite enough line.
Never quite enough line, yeah. Because originally I was singing it with the intention of it being more background with it, so I had a little bit less emotion in a lot of the lines. So we, you know, when the song came more to life and it was both of us more up in the front, I had to redo some of the emotional parts of it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And talking about earlier, like when we were, you know, talking about like, does it start as one of our ideas or does it become a collaborative thing? This was one of the ones where originally I imagined it was a solo song for me. And then she wrote all those harmony parts. And when she came in, immediately I could tell, you know, like, okay, this is not just a me song anymore. this is ours. Those harmonies are adding so much to it.
Yeah, big time.
Really the same with your drum parts too.
Yeah.
Like absolutely, that added a whole lot that was not there.
That good Mando. Mm.
Yeah, I'm glad y'all like that. I feel super awkward when I play mandolin because, believe it or not, almost every one of the notes in that take was a separate take. Because I'm like, that one didn't sound good. I should start over. You know.
You're never supposed to say that.
Yeah, you're not supposed to tell people.
But it's totally true.
Yeah.
You crossfade and clip stuff in all over the place.
Yeah. Hey, you gotta
save time or.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay to do what's required to present, the best version of your idea. Using the technology you're able to use. And I'm saying that mostly for myself. It's really hard for me to say anything other than just yelling over an acoustic guitar is honest.
I hear you. I come from that side of it too.
Yeah. It's a
that folk punk thing.
all day. I saw a meme recently, and it was like the sleep paralysis demon, but it just keeps asking you if things are folk punk. I said, "Oh my goodness, that's so true."
That's so folk punk.
You guys would have been those guys at that famous Bob Dylan concert where he like brought out the electric guitar, and then people are like throwing garbage at the stage, and, like walking out.
Get out of here, Bob.
Come on,
Robert.
That spirit is still alive. Clearly.
Yeah. Well, River, I want to know, you've. I honestly feel like your low point came with its own remedy in a delightful way, in a really way that felt like closure, But I do want to make space for you to share some of like the highlights, some of the joys you found in your art making.
Mm-hmm. I just want to expound on the IMF thing. I mean, really, this song is about that. It's about like feeling that you're like, for better or worse with music, you're on the top of a mountain by yourself and you're just kind of shouting out into the void, and IMF has just like, I've looked my whole life for something like this, where it feels like you're putting it out into a substance where it lives and like comes back to you in ways that you don't expect all the time, instead of just like dead air. Like it's getting out there, and then these songs are living beyond that release point, and it's really amazing that like here I am talking about a song that I wrote, and like sharing even more about it, like I don't know, like I've been releasing music on the internet since I was like 12, and a lot of it just went out into dead air, and I don't think that was anything that I was doing wrong. It's just like, if anything like this existed, I didn't find it until now, and it's not a given, I think there are a lot of people out there still feeling like their stuff is going into the void. And I hope they find something like this, but that it really has been the high for me, is just the general feeling that my stuff is taking on a life of its own and mixing with other people's creations and becoming part of a community instead of just vaporizing the moment that I'm done with it.
Yeah. There's a difference between a recording and a song. Like a recording is just a record of something you did put to sound, whereas a song is kind of a living representation of something you spent time on. And for that to then find fertile soil, for that to then grow and become inspiration and even just playlist material, people are listening to it because they enjoy it. That's just a beautiful thing. Like, you've created a living thing, kind of the way you were saying. I like it, man. Thank you. Magic, I still see you. I still see you on the thing.
I'm still here. This is super interesting.
It is interesting.
Yeah, I love it, and I really enjoyed your song, River. I love. It's kind of cool seeing a behind the scenes, like where did this come from? What's the meaning behind it? 'Cause a lot of good songs can be interpreted all sorts of different ways, right? That's probably one of the hallmarks of a great song is its applicability to a wide audience, and it's just really cool to hear the true roots and the origins of where this song came from.
Yeah, but ultimately they don't really matter, right? You know, like people creating their own meanings out of it is exactly what I want, you know? Like talking about community. I think in some ways you kind of put a song out because you're ready to see it change, you know? Kind of like putting your kid out in the world. You're ready to see it change in your own mind and in the real world, you know? Like it's been living in your head for so long, and you know, like under your own dictatorship, that you're ready to let it go and let it be whatever it wants to be.
Yeah. Yeah, man. That's it's funny how many ways you can apply that metaphor of like your art is like your kid, you know? Like it's going to go out there, it's going to encounter people who do not encourage it. It's going to encounter people who form lifelong relationships with it without necessarily knowing who the hell you are. You know, like that's such a crazy thing to know about, you know, the individual experience of a human being, but also of a piece of art. Man, I could talk about that for the rest of my life, honestly, and I probably will, but I won't necessarily put all of it on Twitch. So that is kind of the end of what I wanted to say today. I want to give each of you some time to maybe shout out your social medias or your links, whatever you may want to let the world know. And of course, I'll get those links from you and put them wherever this recording goes for future listening as well. We'll start at M. I feel like you have contributed meaningfully to this conversation, but it's been the longest since I've heard you say stuff. So we'll start with you. Where should we find you?
I'm on like quite a few things, but I tried to like limit the things I'm on, otherwise I get spread too thin. But I am on YouTube and Instagram mainly, and Spotify. But I think when you upload a song, it's like everywhere because of like DistroKid or whatever. But I mainly like focus on Spotify, YouTube, and Instagram.
Yeah, and they search for specifically Dilemma, right?
Yeah, on Instagram I think it's like Dilemma was taken, so it was OG and then like full stop Dilemma. But I thought that meant like original, but everyone's like, oh no, it's like original gangster, and now I'm like, what?
It's even better, honestly. It's better. Yeah.
Accidental gangster. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Awesome. I'll be sure to put the links where they need to be. Raspy, what about you?
I don't have anything solo yet out. That's a page for my solo stuff. I'm still working on that, but we have Doomsavers on YouTube, and we have a Facebook page, and we have I think we have a. Did you set up an Instagram? Yeah, we have an Instagram.
Nice.
This is the thing. I'm like all old school Facebook, and I hate it, but he's got the Instagrams, down. So
that's good. You complement one another once again. You're a strong team. Matt, tell us where we can find the Unstoppable FUs. Can we just change the name of your band right now to the Unstoppable FUs?
I could do anything I want, man. I don't have to go through anyone. That's the best part.
You can have a band meeting right now. Yeah.
Right. Hey man, what's up? So I'll type my Instagram handle. It's because it's hard. I wanted to change my name because saying the FUs, they're like, oh, like the YOU or like the Fuse. It's not like that. It's just the FUs, with the dash between the F and the U's. I'll type it out, but I am on TikTok, like all the I just kind of shit post on there, just random ideas, and I saw that on DistroKid you can, when you put your credits in to who did what on the song, if you go to the like a special like shout out, they have a section titled drug dealer. Yeah, I didn't know that, and that's like that. It's not even a joke. It's there, and you can check it out. Yeah. It says drug dealer, and then it says name. So I don't know who.
People have definitely like an FBI honeypot.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just the FBI behind the computer, like, drug dealer. Cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, every streaming service on the FUs. Yeah. And I have a new song coming out on the 28th.
Awesome. Heck yeah, man. What is it? You mentioned when we listened to Chaser that you had one that then Chaser kind of delayed. Is it the one that was delayed by Chaser?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Because I try every other release, I try and do like screamy stuff, and then there's people that don't like the screamy stuff.
Yeah.
So it's still like rock, but it's not like Chaser at all.
Yeah, a little more like Find You, I guess, because that was
Right.
Yeah. I'm a fan, man. You haven't released one that disappointed me yet, so I'm looking forward to it.
That's all I care about, man.
Yeah. The next person who tells you your music isn't good, you just say, well, there's one guy who.
Well, this one guy
He really likes it.
said that he does like it, so you're wrong.
Yeah.
And that's the end of that.
That's it. Yeah. River. Where should folks find you other than Doomsavers? Which
Other
will
than
already-
Doomsavers,
Yeah.
I'm on Instagram more than anything else. I think just look up River Atkins. I'm the only one. I'm pretty sure. I also post on YouTube a lot of like covers and more long form content, and then just find my actual music on the streaming services.
Nice. Awesome, man. Well, guys, I think that's the show, and I'm very grateful for your time, obviously sharing here with me right now. But I'm grateful you're making such wonderful things, taking chances by sharing it with the world. Because in the creating, and the caring, and in the sharing, like that rhymed. I didn't mean for that to rhyme. That is going to be inspiration for somebody. You know, like the people that we listened to when we were young and made us decide we wanted to make art, they weren't necessarily doing it for that reason, but that's the effect it had, you know, in reality. And that's going to be the same for you guys, and I'm grateful for that. For everybody listening or watching or whatever, including Magic Jones, you guys be sure to look up Magic Jones on YouTube too. His page is insanity. It's crazy. I'm not even going to try to describe it. Anyway, if you're listening, thank you very much for sharing your time with me and with the contestants today. And until we share time again, stay courageous, stay curious, and stay creative. Bye, everybody.